back, everyone, to this edition of the Stogie Geeks Show. This segment is brought to you by A.J. Fernandez Cigars and the San Latano line, which has been one of the most talked about cigars in recent years, and they now offer a groundbreaking line extension, the San Latano Bull. The San Latano Bull features an extensively aged and hardy core of Nicaraguan long fillers nestled beneath an attractive Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. Housed in a cedar sleeve, which depicts the outline of a bull, only solidifies this cigar as a full-flavored cigar. Removing the sleeve reveals a box-pressed cigar with a beautiful oily and smooth chocolate brown wrapper. The San Latano Bull burns nicely and neat as it issues columns of smoke, while it hits you with a wall of spice followed by leather and cedar. This densely packed cigar identifies deep, rich flavors and becomes a flavor bomb halfway through and only gets better with each passing draw. Strong yet smooth and perfectly balanced, A.J. Fernandez, who many have called a tobacco prodigy, has somehow pushed the already spectacular San Latano line of cigars further with the Bull. A.J. Fernandez challenges you to take on the Bull. Cigar Snob's number 8 Cigar of the Year for 2014. Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of the Stogie Geeks Show. I want to turn over to Stogie Santa, talk a little bit about some of the cigar events going on at Mr. J's Havana Smoke Shop. We talked about the Nat Sherman event on last week's show, I believe. But you've got you've got an all-star lineup, dude.
Yeah, we have. I think was it February? What was it?
February is EP.
Second is EPC with Derek Sells.
Okay.
Derek
Sells is the.
Excuse me, is our rep. Phenomenal person. He does a great job with EPC. One of my favorite people. And then in March, again, bear with me. I don't have a calendar with me. We do it the first Monday in every month. Excuse me. Following that, we're going to end up doing Illusione with Edgar, and maybe Casey Johnson is going to come down the following month with Tatuaje. So
an all-star lineup.
It's got an all-star. Then we're going to follow it up with Drew Estates.
And for those of you that listened to the show last week, we talked about the Nat Sherman cigar event.
Oh, phenomenal!
It's the same format, right? And prices may vary, but roughly you pay
$25.
$25. I was going to say a nominal fee.
No, it's not $25.
So for all three of these events, it's $25.
All the events are $25.
Yep.
And you end up getting free apps, cash bar. And we have
I would call it a meal. I would say it's a meal.
It's similar to a meal.
It's a buffet meal.
Yeah, buffet
meal. You get
cigars, cash bar, and a lot of raffles at the end.
And
the raffles
not
are
all
free.
the time, but most of the time you have a liquor representative there.
I line that up.
So you think all three are going to have the?
Oh, I'll make sure of that. And with Tatuaje, I'm going to have a special guest. We're going to do some cognac and some scotch.
It's the best value for
incredible.
The event. It's just awesome. It's just awesome.
It really does.
Yeah,
it does a great. And Paul comes down, and he lends a lot of help. He interviews the people, sometimes we get lucky enough, and we'll have like Mike Herklots. How lucky can you be to have Mike come down?
Yeah,
and Derek will be a welcome addition. He has a lot of knowledge in the cigar industry, and hopefully, like I said, we'll have Edgar Decamangi, and hopefully, if KC has a full slate, he's not promising, but we'll try to tie that in as the weeks get closer to that.
And it's awesome. So, like Stogie Santa said, I'll go there. I'll do an interview with whoever is the representative from that manufacturer. Right. We'll do the YouTube video, and we'll also releasing that now as audio into the audio feed. So you get kind of what I call these Stogie Geek shorts. Well, you had kind of a different name, but they're shorter segments.
They're shorts.
I
kind of like the shorts. I like that name.
It's the shorts. That's what it is. It's compact. I don't think you're going to get any more coverage, information, and within a 10-minute time. Paul condenses everything with great questions up front, and in 10 minutes, I don't think personally you're going to get as much knowledge about that particular vendor at that time. That's my humble opinion.
Yeah, you have to check out Mike's interview.
I was peppering Mike with questions for that full 10 minutes. It was great. It's a lot of fun.
All you got to do me if I won't even say it on the air. I got to tell Mike about something. Well, off the air, I got to ask you. You got to have to ask him a question. But it's just it's a fun event. It's a lot of great times. It's a little intimate. Usually about anywhere from 40 to 60 people. We try to keep it small and intimate, and I'll even tip you off. We're going to do the 5th anniversary of the EPC and the Connecticut. So the Reserva, the Toro.
Great sticks.
Come down to Rhode Island and check out all of those events.
If you're in the area, we had people come
from Connecticut,
Connecticut, New York. Mike Herklots is he does such a great job at not. I mean, we don't even have to say any accolades to Mike. Everyone knows who he is and what he does for Nat Sherman. And another exciting thing, what we're doing with the Jay Grotto anniversary, which Phil Zengi produces for Paul, we sold out every line.
Are you completely sold out?
Yeah, all I got is 2 boxes of 458s.
Wow.
And I'll tell you something. It was tough planning. We didn't know.
Like how do you know?
How do you plan this? And I tell you what, that's over 300 boxes we sold out.
Wow.
In a short amount of time. I mean, we've been out for almost weeks. So Phil was he sent up some samples, and they're just not ready. We've done so well. So we're looking at probably the first week of February is when we're expecting the shipment from Phil. You know how logistics and the customs and whatever. So no later than the second week, and we're so excited. The Preferito, I mean the Perfecto, that was the first one to sell out. It was just amazing. I just thank everybody out there for the support. That cigar is it's a very unique cigar. We're very happy with the turnout of that cigar. We're really, really very, very humbled by the turnout of what people thought about that cigar. So thank you very much for that little segment there for us. So let's move on to our next one.
Yeah, I want to mention one thing before I go into that, because I should have mentioned this after the Debonair Ideal segment, but Phil Zengi is making a pass-through of Texas this week. So he was in Houston. I know early in the week he's making his way through San Antonio and Dallas as we speak.
Yep.
So folks are, definitely he was down at Stogie's. I think he was down at Club Humidor.
He's at the Club Humidor right now as we speak.
Yep.
He's with,
he could be listening right now. And I encourage folks in Texas to absolutely
take this cigar in.
Take it in and go meet Phil.
Right. Another thing is, I'm going to be a liaison for Mr. Zengi. He's bringing back the Indian tobacco, it's going to be with Phil on board. I cannot wait. This is going to be something very, very, very special for him. I can't wait for that to happen. Phil, he only knows one thing, 100%. Yep. And it's going to be interesting. So stay tuned for that. Select retailers will be getting that.
So, Will, I'm excited. You're going to talk about a cigar accessory, and I'm going to surprise you, and I'm going to talk about a very similar cigar accessory. They have your image ready to go up, and they're working on getting my image up, and they're in the exact same space of cigar accessory in one that we've never talked about on the show before. And so I'm super excited about it. So, Will, why don't you go ahead and start talking about the device that you've been testing?
Yeah, and in fact, I was so excited about it, I booked them on the show in March. So our Aces will be on the show. So I tested out. Cigar Oasis had sent. Actually, they gave it to me at the trade. Actually, I shouldn't say they gave me the humidification device at the trade show. They gave me a Wi-Fi attachment.
Yeah, you can see that up on the video now.
Yep. So basically, you can see it's got it's a little box, and basically what you do is you plug. You take your AC adapter out of the Cigar Oasis unit, plug it into the box, and then take the ribbon and plug it into the Cigar Oasis unit. Real simple. What this does is it gives you the capabilities to regulate and monitor your humidor remotely.
And that's temperature and humidity?
Just humidity.
Just humidity. Okay.
Right. Oh, I should say you regulate only humidity, but you can monitor temperature and humidity.
Okay. Very well put.
Okay.
Yep.
So what you do is you install this device. You basically once you install it, you make it without getting all technical. It goes on your network, so your router will recognize it. And what it does is it will take the Cigar Oasis readings and it will send a signal out on it into a database.
Now, so we're going to get a little technical here. Does it send that data to the cloud? And you go on an app on your phone and log into the cloud and get that information.
Yes. Okay. So you could go on an app on your cloud. I mean, sorry, an app on your phone.
Yep.
So your phone, it works on the Apple and the Android platforms, which I tested it out on both. So I did an iPad test with it, and I did an Android phone on a Galaxy, which was great because both apps work the same. And there's also a web interface as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Now, there's a third feature which was really cool, and it's the ability to send alerts.
I was just going to ask that.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me just kind of go through. I'll go real. I won't go deep, but so as far as the regulating, the thing that's nice about that is you could be somewhere and you can change the humidity, the regulating of humidity. So
from wherever you are.
Wherever you are. So it will basically, that will send something back to your Cigar Oasis device saying, adjust it to 67 from 66. And what was really cool about that is when I did it, let's say on the iPad, the Android immediately had all that information picked up. So it knew, it knew that right away.
It all from the cloud. Right.
Right. All pulling it from the cloud there. The monitor piece, what it does is every hour, it sends a report of temperature and humidity. And it keeps track of the average as well as the high-low over a 3-day period.
Oh, that's nice.
No,
and go ahead.
No, the question I asked: how about when it's running low on water?
Right. So,
question.
What I did is I actually tested that. The only complaint I had maybe about the device is to configure the alerts. It was you had to do that from the web browser. So what you could do is you could set up an alert to go to your phone and your email. And there's an article on Cigar Coop that has some examples of the alerts in there. I won't have the guys pull that up, but people can look at that. And basically, what I actually did to test that is I left my humidor open for 3 hours and let it dry. And it sent the alert. Right, it was really cool because I got the alert. Now, normally what it will do with the alert is it will beep, right? Yeah. But if you're not home,
you don't hear the beep.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to hear the beep, right? So that was, it could send you the alert, basically saying it hasn't hit your humidity threshold in this period of time, or that the cartridge has dried out and you need to recharge the cartridge. For the Stogie Geek, now I tested it out on a Cigar Oasis Ultra unit, which is meant for humidors of 100. I don't know if I would use it on that type of humidor because the device is about $100, right? I think you can find it cheaper on some other places, right? But, the same device works on the big units. Mm-hmm. And if you have a big stand-up humidor, you can just use that device. And, that's a pretty good investment. If you have like 400 or 500 cigars, that's a nice thing to have as far as that goes. And you can move it from humidor to humidor, which is really cool.
Yep.
The last thing I'll say is there's some really cool graphs in there. So the graph, it will show you trending data. It is like I said, I think it's the first I've seen of this on the market right now. I think there's a lot more they can go with this technology and do. There's some usability things maybe on the apps that they can improve on, but it's a great starting point. This device was really something. I was glad I had an opportunity to test it out.
Yep. So now, Will, it's interesting that you say that because I recently have implemented smart home technology in my house. It was actually at the request of my wife. She's like, when are you going to get into this stuff? She's like, you're a complete nerd. You need to get into this stuff. And I'm like, all right. Over Christmas break, I'm like, I'm going to do it. So I do the smart things.
That you do.
Home automation. That's what it's called. It's a company called Smart Things. And so you have to buy this little device that plugs into your network, and then you buy all of the sensors that you want. And they have sensors for everything. You can replace the light switches. You can replace the bulbs. You can put door sensors. But one of the sensors that Smart Things has is a temperature and humidity sensor. Mm-hmm. These are $45 on Amazon. So I bought 2 of them, one for each of my humidors at home. And they monitor temperature and humidity. They report that back to the Smart Things hub on your network. And through an app on my phone, I can do the same thing that Will was talking about. I monitor the temperature and humidity, and you can see a screenshot of it there of both of my humidors. So I configured them and labeled them for each of my humidors, and it reports to me on a constant basis the temperature and humidity. You can set alerts and set a threshold. So if the humidity gets above 75% or below 63%, I get an alert on my phone, just like you would get a text message on your phone that says, problem alert, like you need to do something. It doesn't it doesn't automatically change I can't remotely change my humidors like Will can. That's one of the features that Cigar Oasis has over this, but I can remotely monitor. So I put one of these sensors in the bottom back corner of both of my humidors where the humidity would conceivably be the highest.
Correct.
And I've been monitoring remotely. I really like it because, you know, I mean, I'd have to, if I'm away, I'd have to call my wife and say, add water or, you know, open the door for a while or whatever. Also, I noticed that I have to calibrate these. Stogie and I were talking before the show. They're not exactly, I don't think they're very accurate, but you can get one of those ISO certified sensors that we've talked about on the show before and calibrate it. So if it's reporting 72 like you saw in the picture there, I know that it's probably reporting a little high, and do the math to deduct it. I think there probably is configuration where I could adjust it remotely as well. But those are nice to report temperature and humidity of both my humidors. I feel better that I can monitor them as well. I could also, I mean, if I wanted to get crazy, put a sensor on that would tell me every time my humidor is opened as well. So if I'm traveling and someone were to open my humidor, I could actually get an alert. Now, the one thing I do have that technology on right now is my gun cabinet at home. If someone opens my gun cabinet,
that's a super.
I get an alert on my phone, and my wife also gets an alert. We both get alerts on our phones because she has the app too that someone opened my gun cabinet. But for humidors, monitoring remotely the temperature and humidity, for me, I mean, I'm a nerd and I was setting it up. I mean, and the security of it all is kind of ties into what I do for a living. For me, I thought it was great. I think you can get the SmartThings hub for. You can get kits that are about $200. The hub is about $100. And a sensor for each of your humidors for every humidor, is $45. So if you're going to just monitor your humidors, probably not the best price to do that. But if you're going to do it for your house, it makes sense to go buy these, you know, for your humidors as well.
There's just one other sensor they could add.
What's that?
If you're going to get late or not.
Yeah.
Put it right in your wife's bed. No.
So it's funny you say that. I have a light strip on the back of my headboard on my bed that you can change the brightness.
The mood.
Yeah, and you can change the color. So right from an app on your phone, I can make the headboard red, and I can make it glow red.
Put a little Barry White on.
Yeah, and you can tie it to your Sonos system. So you could conceivably push a button that would put Barry White on. It would turn your bed to the glowing red. It would set the lights to turn all the other lights off in your house, and you're good to go. And the icon for my bed, you can change. You can set the icon. So like for my humidors, I can say what the icon looks like on my phone. For my bed, it's a bed with little hearts above it, and I call it my glowing bed of love. Is what I call it.
Wait a
minute. It's a lot of fun. But I do like for cigar enthusiasts out there. If you're gonna do the smart home thing, I like the SmartThings so far, and there are other solutions. Lowe's has the Iris system, and there are other solutions for it, and a lot of them make the temperature and humidity sensors. I highly recommend if you're doing home automation to drop these in your humidor. It's just an awesome way to monitor your humidors remotely, and a great tip. Something we haven't talked about humidors in a while on the show, and I just think it's an awesome technology thing to be able to do that remotely. So it's really cool.
I think once you're over that 400 mark of cigars, you really got to get into that. And also, I think humidity is one thing. You need temperature control. You really, truly do. I think that's
so. I'm glad you said that.
Less variance of what you're going to bounce.
I have a motion. So in my basement where my humidors are, I have a motion sensor and I have a door sensor as well. But both of those motion sensors and door sensors do temperature as well. So I can monitor the ambient temperature in my room as well as my humidors to kind of see how I'm doing there and then make adjustments. Now, unfortunately, I have a house which has one thermostat, which is also a smart Nest thermostat. But there are solutions coming out on the market that, and this is relevant to cigar smokers as well, because a lot of us have, like, one of my humidors does temperature and one of them does not. So one of them are relying on the ambient temperature in the house. With one zone in a forced hot air system, I have very little control over what the temperature is in my various. It sucks, right?
Doesn't it?
So there's a company called AccuVent. It's actually based right here in Boston, Massachusetts. Called AccuVent, I think is the name of. Is that the AccuVent? They're actually down the street from a sponsor of our other show on Summer Street in South Boston, which is kind of funny. Really cool company, but they make a system where it's expensive. For my house, it's like $1,500 to $1,800. However, I replace every single vent in my house, my forced hot air vents, with ones that open and close automatically. And then in every room I put a temperature sensor, and it monitors temperature and can open and close vents in the rooms to maintain an ambient temperature in the room.
Especially at forced hot air in one zone.
And that's exactly what they're marketing towards, is people like me, like, and it's not just for cigars, right? For cigars, I'm like, I want to do that. But, like, in your bedroom on the second floor, it's hot. Like, it's roasting hot. In my basement, it's freezing because my thermostat is on the middle floor. The AccuVent, am I saying that right? AccuVent? EcoVent. It's EcoVent.
That sounds more
EcoVent is the technology. You can have it maintain temperature, and it does that by opening, closing, and maintains pressure in the HVAC system. So technology, I think, definitely plays into some of the cigars. I mean, I'm like a total nerd, as most of us know. So, that's why I'm researching this technology. But for our listeners out there, if you're doing home automation, I recommend a couple things. One, SmartThings is a great platform. I know a couple of people, aside from myself, they're using it and like it. The added advantage for the cigar smoker is for $45 per humidor, you can add temperature and humidity monitoring for all of your humidors. Now, you can't change the temperature remotely like you can with Cigar Oasis. I think that's a nice feature, an advantage that Cigar Oasis has, is you can adjust remotely. But this is great technology for the cigar smoker. Like you said, you're over 400 cigars. You got large cabinets, and you want to EcoVent. Thank you. Look at that. The picture is up there now. So you can EcoVent's the same thing. You get an app on your phone, and that plug is actually the temperature sensor for every room. So for every 20 feet, you need to put one of those temperature sensors. And if you're relying on the ambient temperature in your home, it might be something you consider, not just for cigars, but to have a home that's much more regulated temperature-wise if you're a one-zone forced hot air. So, very cool.
It is. Very
Will, what do we want to do for contests? Do we want to close out any contests before we get into it?
Next week, we did get a bunch of entries for the box of the San Cristobal, so I will be picking the winner on next week's show. That is closing out for sure next week.
Okay, and then once that closes out, we're going to have a new contest that will be for all listeners, whether you're live, whether you're listening, to the podcast, or whether you listen to the video. We're going to have that for everyone and pick a random winner. But there's also a contest for every live show, or, I mean, if people are watching live that don't respond, and tomorrow you're watching the video and you want to enter the contest to hope to be the first to get in, that's fine too. That contest is for one of the San Latano cigars and a Smoke Naked T-shirt. You can enter that contest now if you answer a question. So, Will, do you have a question? Do we want to base that on the interview with Jason Wood?
Yes. So, in the interview, Jason Wood mentioned a special size of the Nestor Miranda collection coming out this year. Which is the one that's coming out this year?
So the new Nestor Miranda size coming out this year, based on an interview with Jason Wood from Miami Cigars. First person to email the show at StogieGeeks.com gets a San Latano cigar and a Smoke Naked T-shirt. And there is a 3-month kind of blackout period. So once you win the contest once, you go on a list for 3 months, and then you can start re-entering. So you can win once every 3 months in our live show contest. Again, every week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can go to StogieGeeks.com/live and watch the show live. I strongly recommend that you watch the show live. And I have to tell you, we've progressed. We keep improving our technology here on the show. We established that I'm a nerd, and our production staff has done a great job this week, as they do every week. But this week,
they really do.
The production is unbelievable. We've got some new technology that lets us put images up more easily. So you definitely want to watch the show live and benefit from that live experience, or watch the videos. Typically, to talk about our production really quick, it's a live show on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. Videos are typically up on Friday, so you can go to our YouTube channel or our Blip TV channel, youtube.com/Stogie Geeks, or blip.tv/Stogie Geeks. You can watch the video, and then Monday is when the audio is released.
Yep.
So,
and then we usually have a blog post on StogieGeeks.com by Monday as well.
Yes.
So recapping the entire show.
Yep. So you can get our show notes. You can go to the Stogie's feed and view all of that information as well. So thanks for Stogie Santa for joining us tonight. Wonderful to have you in studio. It was awesome.
Excellent. Yep.
That Stogies of the Week segment just flew by. I couldn't believe that all of a sudden it was like,
we thought we wouldn't have enough this week.
Yeah, and all of a sudden we're at 56 minutes, and it was great. So
yeah,
thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see everyone next week on the Stogie Geek Show. Thanks everyone.